Tyler Perry isn't just a Hollywood heavyweight. He's the person people turn to when everything around them is falling apart. That's exactly who Meghan Markle called when her life was unraveling. Negative headlines dominated the news. The royal family was distancing itself from her, and public sentiment was growing colder by the day. Perry stepped in like a protector. He opened his home to her, offered his staff, and remained silent while the rest of the world was shouting. But now, in a shocking twist, the same woman he once sheltered is reportedly blaming him amid a new and deeply damaging controversy. At the center of the storm is a set of photos from 2016 that resurfaced and exploded online. In them, Meghan is seen casually sipping wine aboard a luxury yacht near Dubai, laughing and enjoying herself alongside a well-known Saudi prince. The timing of the leak couldn't have been more damaging. These images didn't just reappear. Randomly, they came out just days after a high-profile public appearance by Meghan, reigniting questions and suspicions she believed were long buried. The contrast between the pictures and her carefully cultivated image of a humble, down-to-earth actress trying to find her place in the world was striking. Those photos shredded that narrative completely, rather than addressing the controversy head-on or acknowledging the inconsistency. Meghan reportedly panicked. And in that panic, she allegedly searched for someone to blame, not the photographer. Not the source of the leak, but Tyler Perry, the very man who had protected her when the world seemed against her. Sources say she privately insinuated that Perry or someone within his media empire might have had a role in leaking the images, or at least failed to stop them from spreading. Whether she explicitly said it or just strongly hinted at it, the implication was clear and it cut deep. Perry, known for being calm and collected, was said to be furious. An insider from Perry's Atlanta-based studio revealed that he was deeply hurt, not just because his name had been dragged into such a scandal, but because it came from someone he trusted. His fury wasn't just rooted in betrayal. It was the shock of realizing that Meghan, of all people, would suspect him of turning on her. After all, when the royal family distanced themselves, Perry gave her refuge. His home was her safe haven, and now she was suggesting he could be part of the problem. One Hollywood publicist described it simply: Meghan didn't try to resolve the crisis, she looked for a scapegoat. This issue runs deeper than a few leaked photos. It's about loyalty and the consequences when that loyalty is questioned. By even privately accusing Perry, Meghan may have severed a relationship that cannot be repaired. Perry has already made moves to cut ties. One of his staff members confirmed that he has instructed his team to stay away from Meghan's future media endeavors. He's not making a public scene, just stepping back decisively and silently. But even without a press release, the message is loud and clear. And the fallout is only intensifying. Inside Meghan's PR circle, there's mounting pressure to manage the narrative without contradicting the carefully constructed image of resilience, humility, and empowerment. But this incident exposes a major crack in that image. It's hard to preach about unity and grace while undermining those who once protected you. People are noticing the contradictions. Though Perry hasn't spoken publicly, his silence is deafening. In an industry where perception is everything, that silence speaks volumes. Meghan's team is scrambling to contain the damage, but the truth is, much of the damage has already been done. Some relationships, once broken, can't be mended. The impact of the leaked photos was far-reaching because they didn't just show a moment, they told an entirely different story from the one Meghan had been telling for years. Her public persona had been that of an ordinary woman who fell in love with a prince and was blindsided by the intensity of royal life. But in those pictures, she appeared completely at ease in elite circles, laughing with a Saudi prince renowned for hosting high-profile, exclusive yacht parties filled with celebrities, influencers, and billionaires. There was nothing in those images that suggested a struggling actress. Everything suggested someone already embedded in the world of luxury and privilege. That stark contrast struck a nerve. Meghan had built a narrative of simplicity, of innocence, someone unaware of what royal life would demand of her. But these images hinted at something more calculated, a rise to fame built on strategic relationships and elite connections long before Prince Harry entered the picture. The public reaction was swift and severe. Communities that once championed her, feminists, social activists, and even some celebrities, started pulling away. Advocacy groups who had praised her for standing up against misogyny and injustice began questioning her. Why was someone so vocal about women's rights so comfortable around a royal from a country infamous for oppressing women? And why had these photos never been seen before? This wasn't just social media outrage, became a full-on credibility crisis. One prominent women's rights advocate said the images didn't just disappoint, they betrayed every woman who had believed in Meghan's message. Others began combing through her past interviews, examining her timeline, and trying to figure out what else didn't add up. Meanwhile, over in London, the royal family remained silent, but don't mistake that for disinterest. Inside Buckingham Palace, the reaction was immediate. Sources say King Charles was briefed almost instantly. He received a detailed report, prepared by intelligence officials and royal aides, that included the leaked photos. Meghan's rumored fallout with Perry, and the storm it had unleashed in the media. The royal reaction, though calm, was serious. Senior royals reportedly expressed concern that the scandal could derail their ongoing efforts to modernize the monarchy. Queen Camilla was said to be particularly worried. She's been working behind the scenes to promote a more dignified, streamlined image for the royal family, and this type of tabloid spectacle undermines that mission. But it wasn't just about Meghan. The palace reportedly began re-evaluating how her continued symbolic link to the crown could pose a risk. Discussions turned to her children Archie and Lilibet. Though it may seem harsh, their names came up in high-level conversations, not to punish them, but to consider whether maintaining their royal status was still in the best interest of the monarchy. Quietly removing their formal ties was on the table, not as retribution, but as a form of protection. Caught in the middle of all this was Prince Harry. As usual, he wasn't just Meghan's partner, he was the bridge that connected her to figures like Tyler Perry, to Hollywood, and to the safety net they relied on after leaving royal life. When the yacht photos surfaced, insiders say Harry was stunned. But it wasn't just the images that hurt him. It was Meghan's reaction, her scramble to assign blame, her accusation toward Perry, and the chain reaction that followed. According to one of Harry's longtime friends, he was devastated. Not just because Perry had always been good to them, but because the whole episode marked the collapse of one of the last friendships he still valued. Insiders say Harry felt completely blindsided. He had seen Tyler as a brother, someone who supported them when almost no one else did. For Perry to be dragged into a media disaster caused by Meghan's fear and finger-pointing left Harry speechless. Those close to him say he's grown unusually quiet, not because he agrees with the leak or the accusations, but because he's simply overwhelmed by the chaos. His once wide circle of support continues to shrink. And each new scandal only deepens his isolation. The damage didn't stop at personal relationships. Meghan's business ventures began experiencing turbulence too. From her lifestyle brand to planned media appearances, things began to quietly unravel. Companies that had been eager to associate with her image of empowerment began reconsidering. One public relations executive admitted that several brand partnerships were suddenly paused or reassessed. The logic was simple: you can't promote a message of strength and poise when your closest allies are cutting ties in anger or disappointment. While Meghan's team stayed silent, offering no denials, no public comments, the vacuum only fueled more speculation. With no official narrative to counter the backlash, media outlets and internet commentators filled in the gaps. Forums, YouTube creators, and talk shows poured over the yacht photos and began re-examining every statement Meghan had ever made. The phrase "selective truth" began trending online, a not-so-subtle way of saying her carefully constructed image no longer held up. Perhaps the most painful fallout wasn't the public criticism or the credibility questions, it was the sudden isolation. For years, Meghan had lived in a bubble of support, royal ties, celebrity friendships, media influence, and loyal fans. But now that bubble has burst. Human rights organizations no longer reference her. Actresses who once praised her bravery have gone silent. And Tyler Perry, one of her staunchest defenders, has quietly closed the door. In Hollywood, reputation is everything, and Meghan's is now in freefall. One entertainment strategist put it plainly: when you begin accusing the very people who stood by you, others in the industry take notice. No one wants to be next. Studios don't just react to controversy, they watch for patterns. And when the pattern becomes drama and unpredictability, the offers dry up fast.